Hi, Mark here from the Tangibound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangibound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangibound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangiboundNetwork.com and see if Tangibound Network is right for you.
We're not doctors, therapists, trained professionals of any kind, so if you feel you do need help, please reach out and get the help you need. We have a whole list of things on our files page over on Facebook at facebook.com/crazylifepodcast, and or just search on the internet for the suicide prevention hotline number, or go to NAMI.org or whatever resource you can find. But just please reach out for help if you need it. If you feel as though you're going to harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. And try not to be alone. Also, if you feel that way and you realize that you're writing a note or making plans of how you would do, like harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. That's a huge red flag. And lastly, please do not replace the idea of therapy with listening to this show. Again, if you need help, please reach out and get the help that you need, or contact us. We can try to help you find the help that you need.
Life sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time, stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to the Crazy Life, everyone. My name's Jen. I am your hostess for the evening. And with me, as always, we have Brian and, oh, no Henno tonight.
Wah, wah.
Feel better, Henno. We miss you.
Yeah.
Henno's just being, he's having a little under the weather time. So
Yeah.
hopefully he'll feel better soon.
Well,
and
he talked about it on the show. I don't think he minded. You know, he got.
Oh, that's true.
He got, that tooth removed that he talked about on the show, and I don't know, something about having a mouthful of gauze and stuff right now, and
Mumbling and,
yeah, right. Henno, just making excuses, I kid. And what a way to kick off your few days before your birthday. So since we won't record again before his birthday, we'll go ahead and, his birthday's Friday, I believe. So happy early birthday to Henno, which, 'cause I don't know when he'll listen to this, but whatever. So
absolutely. Happy birthday. Yeah. And if you want to send Henno birthday wishes, don't forget he's on Facebook and Twitters and whatnot. So I'm sure he'd appreciate hearing from you.
Yep. Yeah, we'll go over that at the end of the show with the rest of our links and what have yous.
Well, since I went first last week, you get to go first this week.
Mm-hmm. That's why Henno's not here. He knew,
He knew it was going to be him.
Mm-hmm. Because since you both missed... No, I'm kidding. Just kidding.
So how you doing?
Better. I'm
I really think I got out of the house a couple of times this week because the weather's been crazy great. So even when it's not been, it's funny because we had like a day or two where it was like mid 50s, almost 60, but there was a lot of wind, and being outside, it was still like, yeah, it's still not, this isn't spring yet, like you could still feel that twinge of winter hanging around in it, but like I was telling Tony on Salty Language, I was like, it was so nice to go out the other day, and I was like, I don't have to wear a jacket, and I could wear shorts if I want to. That's where I love the weather, is when I can make that decision and go, I'll go jeans today, or I'll wear shorts, and I'm not uncomfortable either way. And that really helped, I think, was getting out. It's been sunny for the most part and warm, and I really think, like, remember last week I mentioned that, like, spring fever part of this that I think maybe it was part of the overall issue. I think that had a lot to do with it, was getting out and getting some sun, and I don't mean getting a tan or anything, but, like, just getting some sunlight in my life, and just, it felt nice, so I think that really helped me. Unfortunately, we only have one more day of this weather, then it's going to drop about 20 degrees. But that's that's normal for this area this time of year, so you can't really complain about it. What stinks is, I'll probably have about a 3-day headache with the change. That's where it sucks, but again, I can't do much about it. So, but yeah, overall, I've been feeling better. I've had more energy. Also, I got my testosterone shot last week. So I don't know for sure if it's the weather, if it's the shot, if it's both, but whatever it is, I definitely am feeling better this week. Not 100%. Like I can still feel depression lurking about, like, but it's not been as bad. I cooked today. And that's a lot of times that's how I can tell where I'm kind of at, is if I'm like, I'll make a sandwich, or I'll make a microwave burrito, or what, versus I'm going to actually cook tonight. Like, I'm going to chop stuff up. I'm going to, I'm going to spend an hour and a half making food. Then I can tell I'm feeling, definitely feeling some better. And I did that tonight. I made, made dinner, and turned out good, and that felt good. So, we recorded the 500th episode of Salty Language last night. It's still wild to think about, because I can remember when we started and how we were just so like, yeah, let's just do it, and it's so funny. Our attitude hasn't changed. We don't do long form planning. We don't have huge outlines. We both walk in with a few notes and just go. And the worst part is that we just cannot get away from being plagued by technological issues. We had to end up. We switched a couple weeks ago from Skype to Zoom, and we've noticed for us it's been working a little bit better. So we've been using that, but then Tony's laptop has been giving him a bunch of trouble. So he ended up recording off of his phone last night. So when he used soundboard stuff, it was literally just playing out loud off of his tablet. It's just so funny to us how, I had to restart my router last night, because when we started talking, everything was fine. Then all of a sudden, everything was really bad. And I did a speed test, and my internet speed was like almost non-existent. So I restarted everything, and it helped a whole bunch. And then we were able to go fine from there. So it was just so appropriate, because of how many times we've had this or that just jumping our way. And, it's like, we've been dealing with it for a long, long time now. But it was really cool to see, like, when I changed the graphic, because I have a preset, like, template, and I just changed the show number on it for every episode. And it was just so neat seeing 500 on there, you know, and seeing when I posted it that it was episode 500. It was just so surreal. And again, you know, this show, this is 292 for us.
Yeah.
You know, like we're creeping to 3 here. So, you know, we're pretty, you know, getting pretty close to that. So it's mind blowing when you hit some of those numbers, you know, because you think about, like, I mean, no knock on us here, but like with Salty Language, we've put up something every week. You know, even the week when the show completely, like, I had the episode pulled up on my Mac and my hard drive died while I was editing it and it corrupted the file. We still did a quick record that week and put something up. You know, so it's like for 500 weeks, we've put up new content in a row. That is mind-blowing to me. You know, even if it was just a little something, you know, it's just the fact that one of us or both of us sat down every week and put something out there, you know, and again, you know, for those who don't know, and I'll tie this back now to mental health, part of the reason I wanted to do a podcast was so that I would have something to be responsible for each week, because I needed that in my life at the time. So the fact that, you know, we've done, and don't get me wrong, I have not been on every episode of Salty Language. I missed a few, but it's 2 or 3 I think I missed. Not like I missed a lot, but I missed a few. But the fact that I've been able to be that successful at my initial goal. I didn't even talk about this on the other show. It didn't even hit me until just now, but that was really my main motivation for wanting to do the podcast, was to give me something to be responsible for every week.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm taking my win on that one. It's a big, big win because,
you
you know,
huge win.
Yeah.
That's almost 10 years.
Yeah. We've been doing that show over 10 years.
It's insane.
Yeah. And on this show, I know we've jumped through hoops and we've missed a few weeks and blah, 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 but it's like I've been on every episode of this show.
Yep.
So, you know, and again, that's mostly thanks to the generosity of you and Henno to not go, screw that guy, we're just going to record. But it's still the idea that, you know, we worked it out somehow so I could be on it and stuff. So it's pretty cool to me. You know, I know to a lot of people it won't mean much, but it's really neat to me. So, like I said, I'm taking
really
my win.
Cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my win for the week, and that's basically been my week.
Nice. Well, so guess what came in the mail today?
Your
My
sleep study.
study.
Finally.
Yay!
It's only been 3. Well, this is the 3rd week, I believe, in a row on the show you've talked about it.
Yeah, it's been 5 weeks, I want to say, since my doctor's appointment when she ordered it for me.
Jeez. Wow.
So, yes, and I have 7 days to return it.
That's the part I love, is they can
Yeah.
take their sweet time getting it to you. But you better get it back now.
Exactly.
All
And
right.
it takes 3 days to do, or 3 nights, I should say.
Wow. So when are you going to start?
So I'm going to start tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to do my normal everyday sleep,
Yeah.
cycle. So I got to do my routines and everything like that. Then I've got a band that goes around my chest and a thing that goes on my finger and something that goes around my mouth.
Okay. To measure your breathing, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay.
So I've got those 3 things. Now, I'm not exactly sure because, for those who haven't seen a picture of me, I do have a large chest. So getting something, and it's supposed to go like where the heart would be.
Okay.
So it goes on top of my chest.
Okay.
So I'm thinking I may still need to wear maybe a sports bra or something to kind of help it stay in place.
Oh, right. Yeah, I could understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of how I'm going to get this to stay put.
I mean, we laugh, but it is a valid It is a valid concern, yeah. Because you don't know because you haven't. I'm assuming you haven't tried it on yet, right?
I have not tried it on, but
Okay.
I've seen the pictures how it goes on, and I've taken a look at it, and it's literally a strap that goes around you.
Yeah.
But it's got to be in a specific spot.
Right.
So that it can measure your heart. So I'm thinking if I wear a sports bra, I can maybe even put it underneath the sports bra so the sports bra can hold it in place.
Well, if not, I guess you get the husband to get the roll of duct tape out.
They did say that if you need to, you can use medical tape to keep things in place. Because that's the other problem I'm going to run into is that I am a side or stomach sleeper.
Right.
Not a back sleeper.
Yeah, me too.
And it's kind of set up for back sleepers. So I'm like, oh, okay. So we'll see how this is all going to go down.
That's another good reason to not wait too long to start, though, because if you do night one and you have issues, you can still correct them. Whereas if you waited until almost the last minute to do it, you'd be like,
They say just record through whatever. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you have to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, then that gets recorded too.
Yeah.
Everything that you do gets recorded. And I'm like, okay, for 6 hours. So I'm going to do Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights for 6 hours. And then it auto shuts off. And they said that if I have a drink at night, then I'm supposed to have a drink before they do the test. If I don't normally drink at night, then don't have a drink before the test. So they just really want me to keep my exact schedule. So I've got that going. And they're starting to talk about going back into the office, which is a good thing. Sorta. We've talked about this before, kind of mixed emotions about the whole going back into the office, but I think in the end it will be a good thing for me. It's just going to be difficult making that transition for sure.
Yeah, because even though you have that structure at home, there's a difference in the structure of going to work, I guess. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Plus, if nothing else, it does give you a bit of a change of scenery.
And this is true. It does. It does require me to get up though earlier and do my hair and makeup and
drive to work. Yeah, whereas before you just walk into the living room.
So actually leave the house.
I love the episode of The Simpsons where Homer gets super fat so he can stay at home and work, and he's talking about how he's always early to work because it's just in his living room. It just.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many times I get to my desk and I, start up the computer and stuff, and I've still got half an hour before I'm technically supposed to be logging in and stuff. I kind of, clean up the emails a little bit and just tool around a touch, and so it's just nice. But if there's a silver lining to all this COVID stuff, which there isn't much of one, but if there is a little bit of silver lining, I would say that is nice that we've all had the opportunity to see what working from home feels like.
Yeah. Well, it's been nice for some people too to give them time with, their pets and their families and stuff. Like I said, I read an article a few months ago. It was talking about how there's going to be such an adjustment if everybody were to go back to work, because so many pets now are used to having their people home all the time, basically. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden you go back to the whatever. And some of these pets don't even know that, they go to work thing, because so many people adopted pets during this,
This actually works out pretty well, the fact that my husband and I work opposite shifts, because our dogs really have somebody with them at all times.
Yeah, that's true.
Feels them completely rotten.
Of course.
They're not used to being alone at all, ever. Mm-hmm. But it is a kind of a nice thing for them, that they always have their humans with them.
Yeah. That is going to be tough, though, for some of them, because there is going to be some separation anxiety for some of these pets, I'm sure. So
absolutely, because they freak out so much when you're gone anyways, and then let alone being gone that long.
Yeah, like cats are gonna love it because they're gonna be like, finally, this idiot's gone, you know. Like,
exactly.
Dogs are just gonna sit there and stare at the door for 8 hours, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, kind of see, you know, where everybody lands. I mean, it's tough all the way around. I mean, we had a tough adjustment on the way down, and we're going to have a tough adjustment on the way back up.
Yeah, it's true, because there are going to be adjustments, as well as, you know, like I've said before, to me, I'm very curious to see what policies and what things we carry over and are now normal going forward. You know, because there are some things that have happened in businesses, and not just businesses, but people in their, you know, personal lives have been like, hey, actually, this is kind of a good thing or whatever. So I'm curious to see what people adopt and move forward with.
Oh, me too. I mean, I'm really curious to kind of see what the new normal phase 2 looks like.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tonight we're going to talk about self-care, which is not anything that we haven't talked about before. But I actually found an article entitled "Why My Self-Care Did More Harm Than Good," which it really struck me as very interesting, because so often we look at self-care as being something that's positive, because in all intents and purposes, it should be a positive thing in your life and positive for you.
Yeah.
This kind of just takes a look at it from a different angle. So self-care is not a bubble bath. I mean, it might be if you're that kind of person who feels like they're committing a mortal sin by allowing themselves to wade in hot water with a candle or a book for 20 minutes alone. If that's you, then yes, please allow yourself a bubble bath regularly.
Yeah. Same
with massage, or scheduling time for exercise, or buying yourself some new underwear, or taking a nap. If the idea of doing these things makes you all squirmy and feel selfish and no, I just can't, then that's probably your brand of self-care. It is not mine, though. You see, I've never had a problem giving myself more treats, more me time, more pleasures, more whatever I feel like right now. Treat yourself wasn't something I needed to be talked into. It was just a public permission to do more of what I had always done. By this kind of definition of self-care, I was winning the self-care Olympics. Why was it so hard for everyone else? I wondered as I treated myself to another bath after my middle-of-the-day nap, followed by my weekly massage, while my taxes from 3 years ago went untouched for another day. The organic groceries in my refrigerator rotted in deference to another night of treat-yourself takeout, and I canceled a therapy appointment because I just didn't feel like going again. For the longest time, I waded in an ocean of cognitive dissonance. I didn't feel like the kind of person who had a drinking problem, or lied, or who didn't follow through, or was flaky, or God forbid lazy. I mean, I had so much evidence to the contrary. I was accomplished, I got a lot of things done, I presented well, people still loved me, and I had such good intentions. Except my behavior pointed squarely to those things. The disconnect ate at me. I knew I was tap dancing a whole lot. I knew my good intentions were an excuse for shitty behavior. I knew that I was skating by in a lot of scenarios at work, with friends, in my financial life, and at home. I knew that most of what I had accomplished was done at 50% or less. I cut corners a lot. I knew, even if I didn't know, that much of my life was a house of cards. Which brings me to discipline. Discipline has begrudgingly become my brand of self-care. Discipline is what has actually created freedom in my life. Contrary to what I long believed, I thought my free-spirited ways were an act of rebellion against the monotony of life, that I was showing some kind of ballsy dissident toward the banality of adulthood, carpe diem, and all that. Meanwhile, through my 20s and 30s, I trembled inside, unsure as to why everyone else seemed to do adult things so easily and automatically. I thought maturity was an automatic function of time, a passive effect of getting older. Somehow it just magically happened. Alas, no. It looks like finishing things I start and pausing for a minute before I start another thing to consider the implications of starting said thing in the first place, financially, time-wise, energy-wise, and who I might be impacting negatively if I don't follow through. It means boundaries on screen time, limiting the amount of sugar I put in my body. It means teaching my daughter to do things for herself instead of doing them for her because the latter is easier and causes less friction in the moment. It also means following through on consequences as I lay down for her, even though it makes my life temporarily harder. It means working at basically the same time every morning, so I get in the practice that keeps me steady before the rest of the world wakes up. Morning pages, meditation, coffee, quiet. It means abiding by commitments and being very exact about the commitments I make. It means sticking to my word as much as possible, even when I don't want to. It means saying no to myself more than I say yes. It means asking if my future self will thank me for what I'm about to do. This is my in this moment self, and actually listening to when the answer is. No, your future self will not appreciate this. It often means it's doing what's necessary over what's fun. Self-care for me means discipline because that's what is uncomfortable for me. That's what I struggle to do. It goes against my default patterning, and going against our patterning is how we change. So that just kind of resonated with me when I stopped and think, because I'm an indulger. I indulge myself quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I indulge those around me as well. And we call it self-care, but really, am I taking the best care of myself by indulging in every pleasure that I wish? Well, probably not.
Right. No, not in everyone. No. Like, yeah, the whole, like, the concept of the treat yourself, like, you know, for anyone who doesn't know, it's, you know, kind of brought to prominence through an episode of Parks and Rec, where two of the characters basically once a year they get together and they go get mani-pedis, they go shopping, they just, whatever it is they want to do that day, they will just look at each other and be like, treat yourself, and, you know, they just do it. And it's kind of like the cheat meal when you're on a diet, you know, or whatever, is that you can't do this every day, but once in a while you just, whatever, you know, anything goes kind of a thing. You know, as we've talked on here before, absolutes can get you into a bad place one way or the other, because taking no self-care, you know, like always ignoring taking a nap or a bath or getting a massage or any of that, that's not good for you, because you do need to take care of yourself, you know, and relax or have fun, whatever. But also, like this, you know, person is saying, and I agree with that you know, that if you say yes to all those things, it can be very bad for you also, because then, like she was saying, you know, she took her nap, she got a massage, she took a bath, she whatever, and her taxes are sitting there undone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, you know, you get your paycheck, you got to pay your bills. You know, you can't just get your paycheck and go, woo, and just go blow a bunch of money and go, uh-oh. You know, that's right. No good. You can't, you know, you got to make sure the bills are paid. So I you know, moderation on any of this is good. But I like, we talked a few weeks ago where I had a couple articles like this where they kind of took the flip of, you know, the normal or kind of accepted thinking on things. And you're right, like right now there is that big push for self-care. Because for so long, so many people would, you know, we'd work ourselves into the ground. I'm one of them, you know. you know that. You remember, like, I remember coming home from the one video store job I had, and I literally would just come home and just throw myself into bed, basically, and that was it. I had no energy to really do anything else because I was working 60 hours a week. It's just, I didn't have the energy at that point to even take care of myself. And as we've talked on here plenty of times, you can't fill from an empty glass or pitcher or whatever however you want to say it, So I appreciate somebody kind of pointing the other side of this out too, that for some people, self-care is going, hey, you have to take care of yourself, not just mentally, but you also have to take care of your adult responsibilities. You have to take care of your children if you have them. You have to take care of your bills. You have to take care of, those kind of things as well. So that's a good lesson to make sure you don't lose sight of that as well. Don't go too far the other way as much as we'd all love to,
Absolutely. And you want to put your best self forward. So what's going to make you the best self is to be balanced and, in every aspect of your life. So you can't just indulge too much in one or another. You've got to really think hard about the choices that you're making and what makes the most sense to balance your life out. Yeah.
And that's not to say that you can't have, like maybe this week, my treat yourself to, take care of myself, responsibly. Balance is, 55-45.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to make sure the pendulum doesn't swing to where it's like 95% do whatever you want to 5% like, fine, I guess I'll, do this that I have to do,
Mm-hmm.
Like, fine, I guess I'll feed my kids, like,
I have to,
you do want to, like you said, so you can swing a little further one way or the other. And, kind of like when you go on vacation's a great example, right? Yeah. When you're on vacation, you're not worried as much. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of us still have to work within a vacation budget or whatever, but, you're not as worried about paying the bills and work and all those other things as much as you are, hey, I want to go, eat at this restaurant, or I want to go visit this thing, so it's, there's definitely space for it, but, you can't live there. I think that's the key, like you said, you need to try to, okay, I need to balance this back out.
Exactly. But yeah, I got the article on Tiny Buddha, and it was written by, Laura McKowen.
Okay.
So if you would like to read more of her stuff, or you'd like to look up the article, it's Why My Self-Care Did More Harm Than Good by Laura McKowen.
It is interesting, too, that it's very, first of all, can you send that to me? But, so I don't forget. It is interesting, though, that what self-care for me is not self-care necessarily for someone else. It's similar, again, you kind of like dieting or budgeting your money. The budget you use won't, may not work for me. Or the diet that you're losing weight on may not do much for me, or vice versa, So it's very, it's interesting to think about that in this context as well, is that, the swing to balance that some people need is to just stop being so indulgent in the treat yourself mentality. I get it.
Yeah. And it's kind of a wake-up call. I mean, we've all kind of been there, where we've treated ourselves and treated ourselves and treated ourselves, and then stopped and looked at things and went, maybe I need to slow the roll down a little bit here.
Yeah, exactly. How am I going to pay for all this?
Right.
Or exactly. Whatever. Yeah. Or, oh my goodness, I've gained 100 pounds,
All of the above, right?
Exactly, so, yeah, good topic.
Yeah, so I thought it was a pretty good article. So, are we good?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
I mean, this is really short. I mean, we're only at like 35. Oh, no, you know what? I'm not thinking. I don't know if that's the total amount. No, we're only at 35 minutes. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's fine. We can just put a really short episode up if you want to, but.
Sure. I guess. I think we're good.
I thought we were farther along than that, but we're not. So. Yeah.
I did too.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, like we don't have, Heno talking about his week and our interaction with that and stuff too. So that would normally take up a few more minutes and whatever. So yeah. All right. I guess. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to call it good, folks. We covered some interesting points this week, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter, and you know what to do. If you would like to reach us, you can reach us at thecrazylifepodcast.weebly.com is our website. The Crazy Life Podcast at outlook.com is our email address. If you'd like to reach me direct, feel free to reach out to me on the Twitters at Jen's Crazy Life. That's Jen with a G. And if you'd like to reach Heno, you can reach Heno on Facebook at Ida Heno?
No, on Facebook, he's Heno Heiter.
Facebook's Heno Heiter.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, it's Ida Heno.
Right. I don't remember. I do not remember his Instagram. I don't remember what it is.
Well, you can reach him at either one of those.
Yeah.
And then also check out Moving the Needle, his other podcast that he is on.
Mm-hmm.
And
that can be found on Twitter at MTN Pod.
There we go. MTN Pod.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian, how can they find you?
You can find me at Stunami on Twitter. You can find my other podcast at salty_language. Normally you can find it at saltylanguage.com, but we're in the process of moving our website to a new thing. So if you go to that and it doesn't work, that's why. So, you just find us on Twitter and we can give you other social stuff if you want it. That show's not safe for work, so please be careful who you're listening to it around. And like on this newest episode, we talk about what do we talk about? Girl Scout cookies rankings, Papa John, or the guy who founded Papa John's trying to eliminate the N-word from his vocabulary, crypto art, which is a whole booming market, WandaVision, and some other stuff. So, if any of that interests you, please give us a listen. And you can also find this show on Twitter at the Crazy Life Pod, where I post when new episodes go up. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Crazy Life Podcast. We're a part of the Tangent Bound Network, which can be found at tangentboundnetwork.com. Mark, who runs the Tangent Bound Network, is looking for new shows. Like if you want to do like a video blog or a YouTube show or kind of like radio shows and whatnot, he's looking to expand the network into all sorts of media. So if any of that stuff sounds interesting to you, head over to that website and contact them about getting started. They're great for helping people get going. So, yeah. And also check out the other shows on the network while you're there. And then, of course, if you need help, please reach out. There's tons of people out there willing to help you. You're not alone, so please reach out to someone. And also, please check in on your friends. Make sure they're doing okay. Again, we're all still dealing with a whole lot of stuff in our life, so please reach out when you can, or if you can, I should say. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the last part, as always, is be kind to yourself, and please, please, please be kind to others. And help somebody whenever you can, if need be, and just try to be a good person out there.
Absolutely. And a little shout out to a friend of mine on Twitter who's going through some really rough times. He's across the pond, and unfortunately, mental health help isn't as easily readily available for him as we would hope. So he is reaching out. He is doing his part. And all I can say is just keep swimming.
Yeah.
And that's all we can all do is just go out there, have the best week you possibly can. Keep swimming and keep plugging away at it. And eventually you'll get where you need to go. So with that, everybody, go out there. Have a good week. We'll be here next week waiting for you.